The National Cherry Festival, spanning over 100 years, canceled a handful of times due to war and a pandemic. This festival is the biggest in northern Michigan. We're going to take you through one of the oldest festivals in the entire state.
And hello everyone, and welcome to the DTE Foundation Cherry Royale Parade for 2019.
Beginning in 1910 as the Blessing of the Blossoms, it revolved around the beginning of the cherry season in May. In 1922, it was made known to the farmers that an annual gathering to bless the blossoms had been around for a little over a decade. Beginning in 1923, after asking churches around the area to pray for the blossoms, the more formal Blessing of the Blossoms ceremony began being held on a Sunday in May. On May 22, 1925, the first official Blessing of the Blossoms festival was held. This only lasted a day. This first festival had a parade, athletic games, marching contests, a community picnic. The first ever Cherry Queen was Gertrude Brown. This was attended by 3,000 people. In 1927, the third festival was non-existent as northern Michigan had a bad crop that year. In 1931, the Michigan legislature renamed the festival to the National Cherry Festival and moved it to June and then later moved it to July to include the 4th of July. In 1933, the governor of Michigan, William A. Comstock, said he was not going to indulge in the frivolity. The governor, however, at the 1933 governor's ball said, "I had no conception of the magnitude nor importance and significance of the National Cherry Festival until I viewed the one now underway." During the Cherry Festival, someone else was asked to crown the new queen. Eleanor Roosevelt crowned Morella Oldham as the 1933 Cherry Queen. By 1934, the Cherry Festival was setting attendance records as 80,000 people lined the streets for the big parade. In 1935, the Cherry Festival had a bit of corporate influence, with the very first Skywriter wrote Chevrolet. In 1938, chamber officials estimated that 100,000 people would be in town for the festival. On Wednesday morning of the 1938 National Cherry Festival, Josephine Lafreniere arrived on the Coast Guard cutter Escanaba. She and her court were escorted by a fleet of 8 naval trading boats, making this the first time the Cherry Festival was, quote, invaded. The 1940 Cherry Queen and the 1941 Cherry Queen had real-world political ties. The 40 Queen was Barbara Brown of St. Ignace, being crowned by Congressman Albert Ingle. Brown was upset as her father didn't attend the crowning. He was busy at the time attending the Democratic National Convention as his friends were propping him up for a presidential run. Senator Brown enjoyed a successful career as a senator, and in 1952 he became the chairman of the Mackinac Bridge Authority, which he held until his death in 1973. In 1941, the new Cherry Queen, Christine Michaels, was the daughter of Rodolfo Michaels, the Chilean ambassador to the U.S. No one thought anything would bring the festival to a halt until World War II. The festival, although popular within Michigan, was not celebrated from 1942 to 1946. In 1947, the Cherry Festival shared the week with the Traverse City Centennial, focusing more on the 100 years of Traverse City instead of cherries. In 1948, Traverse City decided that the only locals could be Cherry Queen. This festival only lasted 2 days, but a triumphant return nonetheless. 250,000 people attended the festival. In 1949, the words tart and sweet were first used to describe the cherries. In 1950, Joyce English was crowned queen during the 25th anniversary of the Cherry Festival. During this coronation, English was the first queen to be crowned not at Clinch Park, but instead at Thirlby Field, crowned by Secretary of Agriculture Charles Figge. In 1951, the crop was plentiful, too plentiful as there was a labor shortage and the first use of immigrant laborers. 500 Mexican nationals were flown in to help, being paid 9 cents per pound of cherries. Over 125,000 people lined the streets for the Grand Parade. This was a parade that went on for a while but was official in 1953 as Anheuser-Busch sent their Clydesdales to join the festivities. In 1957, the festival hosted a 7-mile Grand Parade, which was only witnessed by 100,000 people, dropping by 25,000 spectators since 1951. Okay, ready for some numbers? It cost $20,000 to put on the festival in 1963, or $176,137.25 in today's money. According to the Department of Labor Form number 6233217-5F, 15 to 16-year-olds were paid $1 per hour, or $29.04 nowadays. The festival paid $305 $2.55 to the West Michigan Tourist Association for its yearly membership. In 2022, this starts at $200. They also paid Rocco's Drugstore $366.83 for the makeup for the mummers. Mummers, as I had to look this up, are mime-like actors. The word mummer is derived from the Middle English word mum or silent, which is where we get the saying mum is the word. Anyway, moving on. That year's governor's breakfast cost $474.95. The 1965 festival was even more different from 63, as this was the first time it ran for 5 whole days, including July 4th activities and post-festival events. For the 65 festival, they had some interesting events, such as on July 4th, they held a dance from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a $1 cover charge. Well, this would be $9.13 today. July 5th, there was a Cherry Queen talent contest held at the Park Place. On July 6th, there were tours of Grand Traverse Region orchards. July 7th, the Queen's Ball was held with a $2 cover charge, or $18.25 today. July 8th had a lot planned, from concerts to the Junior Parade, and an air sea rescue demonstration that they continue to do to this day. July 9th had the Governor's Breakfast with a $1.50 cover charge, and the Grand Floral Parade. On July 10th, there was a concert held at the Interlochen Arts Academy. In 1968, the National Cherry Festival officially became a week-long celebration, as it has continued to be ever since. In 1967, the Grand Floral Parade officially became the Cherry Royale Parade. This was something else that happened in the 67 festival. Rajah's lost crown. According to the Detroit Free Press, the crown was valued at $25,000. This crown was supposedly owned by a long-lost Rajah, or an Indian monarch. Well, in 1967, it was owned by jeweler Meyer Rosebaum. This crown was given to the festival, which was in turn given to the festival president, David Pierce, who refused to crown the Cherry Queen, Linda K. Christie. Pierce just held it over her head and gave it to her to hold as she left the stage. This was done as the crown weighed 10 pounds and was just too heavy to wear. The Seabees, a division of the American Navy, set off a controlled nuclear blast, clearing a scale village. In 1970, the Cherry Festival was celebrated in Da Nang, Vietnam. Now this sounds odd, but the Traverse City Record Eagle is quoted as printing, quote, "The China Beach USO at Da Nang, serving some 60,000 GIs a month, has told the festival organization it wishes to take part in this year's July 6th through 12th Cherry celebration." In 1971, Buddy Epson of David Crockett fame was the Grand Marshal of the Cherry Royale Parade. In 1972, it was Mayberry RFD star George Lindsay, and in 1973, Duke Ellington performed at the orchestra from the Interlochen Center for the Arts. Apparently, the Cherry Festival also had a thing called the Cherryland Band Classic, one of the largest band competitions in the entire Midwestern United States. The 1975 festival saw a return as the third queen, Helen Bowie, now Helen Nolan, returned to TC from San Diego visiting with family. She had stated she had reservations about doing the Cherry Queen selection, as beauty pageants were still on the outside of the culture in 1928. This would change, obviously, after speaking to community leaders. The selection process would also change around this time, as young people were objecting to the queen sentiment. The Cherry Queens were always picked for their beauty and very little of themselves. This has changed. Anyway, the other special guest was the president, a Michigan native named Gerald Ford. The 1977 festival seemed to be a final straw for some. For over 50 years, the National Cherry Festival had welcomed over 300,000 people almost every year. But was it worth it? Does the festival need to continue? Well, one person had an opinion on this very topic. Henry James, after being asked to speak his mind by the Record Eagle, had this to say, and I quote, "It takes a tremendous history to make a tradition." In 1978, one of these traditions began. The United States Navy Blue Angels became a semi-annual tradition for the Cherry Festival. After the Thunderbirds came to the festival, the Blue Angels became the main staple of the week. The Angels are the second oldest acrobatic team after the French Patrouille de France, being founded in 1931, while the Angels were founded in 1946. In 1979, the first Bayside Festival stage performance was by the 22-year-old daughter of Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, foreshadowing what was to come. Another staple of Cherry Fest is the 4th of July fireworks. This also started in 1979.
During the 1981 festival, a group of religious scammers called the Moonies came downtown and asked for donations from stores. This was and still is illegal without a permit, as the then current festival manager told one of these scammers, and he stuttered out the door. 1981 was also a bad year for the Krishna consciousness, aka Hare Krishna. They passed out literature and soliciting funds, the latter of which is illegal still without a permit. The 81 festival also had some changes, like moving the Cherry Royale parade to Saturday morning to end the festival from Friday. The Cherry Queen is being crowned in a gala at the end of the festival instead of a pre-festival festivity. The bed races started, a cherry ice cream social was established, and an area of the festival was set aside for cherry-based foods. In 1982, a young entertainment company called Arnold Amusements would occupy the Midway for the first time. During the 85 festival, Charlevoix, Traverse City's neighbor to the north, made the largest cherry pie in the world. This would change. On July 25, 1988, the National Cherry Festival made a 28,000-pound pie and displayed it in the open space. The pie tin is now on display by the former warehouse that housed Sara Lee and Chef Pierre before that. 500,000 visitors came to Traverse City for the Cherry Festival, topping the first festival by 497,000 people. In 2003, a group of anti-abortion students were denied entrance into the Junior Royale Parade. Andrea Becker of the Students of Life spoke on the issue, and I quote, "I was really disgusted. We purposely tried not to put the word abortion on the sign, and we purposefully tried to avoid the controversy altogether. They allowed us before, and all of a sudden, didn't." According to Tom Kern, the festival's executive director, said the decision was made by volunteers who reviewed the festival applications. In 2007, the festival halted the Heritage Parade due to financial constraints. In 2013, Traverse City Mayor Michael Estes had given a suggestion of ridding the festival of pit speeding, pie eating contests, and the Arnold Amusements at the Midway, saying these had outlived their welcome. Estes has stated, "A lot of stuff I think the public is getting tired of." The executive director, Trevor Toch, simply said hands off. This was more of a festival needs to evolve sort of statement, which I think we can all agree with. This very year, the festival evolved again, having the first ever nighttime air show. In 2020, the National Cherry Festival suspended the festival due to COVID-19, the first time the festival was suspended since 1942 in World War II. In 2021, Governor Gretchen Whitmer had provided an update that would open up Michigan, effectively ending the lockdown in Michigan. This was in May, so the festival did not have enough time to put everything back as normal. This made the 2021 festival in COVID protocol. The 2022 festival, however, is going to be a regular festival with all the bells and whistles. Comment below if you've ever been to the National Cherry Festival. Like this video if you enjoyed it, dislike if you did not enjoy it, and I will see you next month.